This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 162.
I had a paragraph on why do I trade, then a paragraph on who I am as a trader.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, Clay Trader.
Hopefully you read the title or the thumbnail and you notice this is part 2 of our interview with Phil. If you didn't notice, hey, that's what I'm here to remind you of right now. If you want the best experience, go back, listen to episode 161, and that's going to give you the best context for it. If you just want to plow ahead right now, hey, it's your world. You do whatever you want. But I think you're going to get the most out of this whole journey if you start at the beginning and listen from that point forward. So again, just go back, listen to episode 161, and then I'll see you back here for the start of episode 162. If you have already listened to episode 161, then yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get back into it with Phil and hear about the rest of his journey.
We talked about upping the share size. I did so good in January and February with 5 and 10 that March 1st I was allowed to move to 10 and 20. And it totally messed me up. I got so confused yesterday over it. I made some errors and some mistakes, and then I thought I said I was only allowed to go back to 5 to 10 shares again today, and it was confusing in my mind. And the next thing I know, I'm long 30 shares of YY, and this thing is dropping like $1 a second almost. So
let me ask you this. Did you look at the level 2s before you got in?
So one of my truth is I wasn't even supposed to trade that stock today. Okay?
Why not? We'll start off there.
Because I didn't see it. You did. And I'm not supposed to look at what everybody else is trading until after I trade. Because when I have stuff on my screens that I'm looking at, I have things in mind. Now, one of the things I love about the chat room is that you don't say, hey, I'm going long, or go long at this on this stock, or go short here, or, you know. And I've been in chat rooms where I'm thinking to go long, and then I see that they're talking about going short, and I change my strategy, and I was right. So I've learned, listen, if I'm going to do this, I have to do it. Forget about what anybody says. And at the last minute today, just as because I sign on and I open everything up, just as I was going to switch back over to my FinViz page that I have some screeners that run on, you added YY to the list too. And I caught that just as I was moving over. Now, listen, it's my fault. But it's like, well, Clay must see something in that. Let me find out what's going on. And I just jumped in. I mean, same thing yesterday. I did it with Alibaba. And when I printed everything out today, there was no reason. There was no rhyme. There was no reason to even get in. So I don't even know what I'm going to do about that one. But it seems like I get this really great confidence, and I'm really doing good. And then it's either a mistake or an error. A mistake is something that I've made several times or more than once, and I know it exists. An error is something that, okay, you had the right idea, or a fat finger, or something that way. And I've been making mistakes, and the next thing you know, my confidence is gone, and I think that, I say to myself, okay, I got stuck in that YY drop. I never, in my whole career of trading, not that it's been a long time, I've never been on the right side of that. So it's like, how can I never be on the right side of that? It's very, very frustrating. This is a very frustrating, thing. So I'm big at, if I get frustrated, I have to get up, I have to walk. It's a 3-story house, so I have to walk all the way downstairs and then all the way back upstairs. And by that time, then I can look at things again a little bit different. But I
want to try to help you out here with YY. So you saw it in the chat room. What did you go and then pull it up on level 2s and all that stuff, or what was your process from that? Because I will tell you, I traded YY once
and made money
3 times today, and yes, was profitable. Although I don't know if you saw the image in the chat room. My first trade was I got filled 2 out of 100 shares. And then I had to sell the 2 shares like $1 later. So, but I guess, did you look at the level 2s at all after you saw it in the chat room?
Okay, what I have, the way I have, and it's something that I'm still working on because I struggle with this, but I had YY on just one chart, and I saw the red. I saw this huge red, and that's my play. That's what I look for. The thing was, though, I didn't have any of those levels set up because I didn't have it set up for myself. So I quick threw it up, and right away I only went in with 10 shares the first time, but it dropped so much that I added, which is, again, that is not an error. That's a mistake. My rule is you can't average. I'm not allowed to average. And I was, because I was like, well, you're not at 20 shares yet, so when you make
now,
rules...
when I'm saying level 2, you know what I mean by that, right? Now, I'm not talking about support levels on the chart. I'm talking about the actual level 2s. Have you taken that course?
Yes, I have. But level
so did you
2s,
look at the level 2s from that course? Did you look at that tool, not the chart, but did you look at the actual level 2s?
So the level 2s I obviously always have them up, but on that particular... On YY, I did not, because what? So,
well, I'm going to help you out right here. So you're looking for some help. Here's the sequence. If you're going to do the type of trading that you want to do, part of the sequence needs to be to look at level 2s before you ever do anything with the trade. Because, and here's your a homework assignment the rest of the day and in the future, because you won't forget YY anymore. When YY is getting high volume, watch those level 2s, and you're going to notice a big spread. You're going to notice those things are jumping all over the place. So that, in and of itself, is going to tell you that you need to be extra safe with entry points and all that, because the level 2s are telling you it's a volatile beast. And if you don't respect the volatile beast, it could smack you in the face. The way I respected the volatile beast today was that not only did I play it extra safe, I added in another layer of safety and only played it 100 shares. So instead of my usual scaling at 500, I literally lowered it down to 100 because now I'm familiar with YY and I know it's a crazy beast. But the only reason I'm familiar and know it because you always have to check level 2s before you get in, because especially if it's over $100, then level 2s are going to quickly tell you, and you took the course, you've gone through the case studies, that, wow, look at that spread. Wow, look at how fast the spread opens up and closes or goes in one way. Like you said, the thing was dropping frickin' $1 every few seconds. And you're right, it does. I know how that one trades. I've seen the level 2s. So what I want you to do, and my suggestion, I mean, take it or leave it. I really hope you take it, but you got to start to incorporate in your process, in your sequence of assessing a trade, you got to look at the level 2s. Does that make sense?
It does, and I actually use level 2s in that. I normally use level 2s in that situation because
Good.
what I notice is that, and I usually watch, it's dropping, and the numbers are flying through. But as it starts to slow down, that's when I try to get my entry. I also, which I miss out on a lot of shares, and then sometimes end up chasing them, is because I'm trying to add, because it's such a big spread. I'm trying to go long. I'm trying to hit the bid. So I'm trying to add liquidity. I won't hit the ask on that because you're right, it is so big. Plus, I also have done, because of listening to you, the y-axis on that on a 3-minute chart. It's $5.
You listen, good. You listen in webinars, excellent.
Well, the y-axis. So I have a sheet now that I have to go through every day, and one of the things is, will it move enough? What's the y-axis? What's the float? And then I also use an ATR because if a stock looks like it's got this huge green moving all the way up, but the ATR for the last 5 or 6 sessions is only like 11 cents, it's not worth it for me to trade. I need something that's actually going to move. So I look at those types of things, but what happens is this knee-jerk reaction to the red. Now, one of the things that I've been trying to work on is it turns out it's also it's not our fault. The human body, when is presented with fear or something of unknown, we go into this fight or flight mode, and the first thing that your body does, it chemically shuts off logic on purpose. So you have to understand that when you're sitting there like a deer in the headlights looking at it like, oh my God, it's going down. Oh my God, it's going down. What am I going to do? That your logic has been shut off so that you can escape. However, trading is not something that if there was a bear coming after me, it makes sense. I run away. But trading is not something that we're used to. So those are the things that do kill me. Yeah.
That's why I think planning in advance before you even get into the position is so key, because you need to know when things go well, what am I going to do? And when things go poorly, what am I going to do? Because you just absolutely nailed it. Logic goes out the window when you kind of get pushed up against that, and it is the worst time to be making decisions. So I've always found that I have my plans in advance, and you just got to stick to it, because when you don't stick to it is when, in my opinion, my logic is always flown out the window too.
And I understand that, and here's like a little detail of the problem then. So when I get in, I have I kind of know. All right, let's say it's a stock is coming up to a 50 period moving average, and it looks like I'm hoping for a bounce back down. Okay, it's coming up. I'm hoping it's going to hit that 50 and come back down. I know that if it goes, what I say to myself, my plan is that I will go short at the 50, and then if it closes above the 50, I'll get back out. That'll be my stop. But because I don't put a physical number on it, when all of a sudden it jumps, and it's above where you thought it was, it's like, wait a second, that's not where I had planned on having to stop.
Surprise.
Yes, and then I'm stuck in it. That and the other time that I get stuck is when you have a grandma number. Let's say it's an even $100, and I want to go long $100 at $100, and I go long at 102 because it looked like it's breaking out, and then it drops back down, and now I'm stuck because it won't get above 100. So now it drops down to, let's say, $99.49. I say, okay, let me grab the 50 mark and pull my average down, and now I'm at maybe 99.75, and it doesn't get below, and I get stuck on the wrong side of the new support or resistance. Another frustrating play that it's like, and I guess I have to learn to just get out of it.
Maybe I misunderstood, but in that example, you were buying the breakout of 102.
Yeah, and then it.
You get filled at, or I'm sorry, you were buying the breakout of 100, and then you get filled at, let's say, 102 cents. Is that
correct?
Right?
Yep.
So I get what you're kind of trying to do there, but you're walking a very fine line of something that would be what I'd consider for a super advanced trader, to which I think you would agree you are not right now, to not making much sense. When what I'm doing the vast majority of the time is, and this, something has got to be super overextended before I'm getting in. But if you're playing a breakout and it doesn't break out, well, when it's going against you, that could just be a flat out failed breakout, and you never really had a good first entry point to be trying to average, build a position off of that. Does that make sense? I mean, there's a big difference between buying a breakout and then shorting a breakout where the breakout has already happened and it's super overextended, so it's highly likely that it's now going to pull back some.
And one of the things that I've learned is to try not to play that first breakout and wait for that pullback to come back and retest it.
There you go. That's good.
Yep.
Good. That's how you do it.
So much stuff for me.
If you want to build that position, you don't really build off. If you're buying a breakout, then that's got to be just a strict RVR trade. But if it's starting to pull back within, let's say, a bull river, then yeah, that's much different. But if your first buy is on the breakout and then you try to build from that point, that's a whole different ball game than, like you said perfectly, letting it pull back to you first and then making that initial buy. So yeah, you're definitely on the right track with that statement.
Yeah, and my problem, one of the difficulties that I have is that I'm watching all these different, there's usually like 10 different stocks that I have that I'm watching. And all of a sudden I'll see, oh, look, this one's going. And by the time I bring it over and pull it up and get it all set and ready, it's like I've missed the move. So it's like I'm trying to do it. And then, of course, I feel, well, now you got it all set up. You try to find a play here, and I'm forcing things. So that has, between, that. But one of the things that I will say that has saved me is that I used to get out at 10 cents or 15 cents. Now I'm like, well, hold on a second. The candle doesn't say get out. You still, and I love like the high and the low. I've been using that of the previous candle, and it's like, okay, but then, I've never held some shares, as much as I have, and it's amazing how 5 shares, you can still make money off of 5 shares.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's absolutely, especially when I'm trading Nvidia and Apple and BABA and BA and Facebook and, these types of things, they can actually move.
Hey,
I still, though,
not to cut you off, but are you in front of a computer right now?
Yeah.
Can you pull up Charlie, Lisa, Susie, Daniel, CLSD?
Hold on, I might have had that up this morning.
The 2-minute chart?
CLSD. Yeah, I had levels this morning for it. Let me go to
Clearside Bio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually had, for some reason, on my 2-minute, I have the
because it's like a perfect example
Fibonacci.
of what we were just talking about.
Okay, which port? What time?
Okay, the 2-minute time frame.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so do you see essentially what you're talking about on the 1404 candle where it started to move its way upwards, and then that whole candle ended up as a spinning top?
1404. What do you mean 1404?
The candle that formed at 2:04 p.m. Eastern.
1404.
So basically, the last green candle before those 2 red candles.
Oh,
formed.
yeah, the spinning top all the way up at the top.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if you're buying that breakout, think about where that first entry point is, and then you're trying to build from that point. I mean, that's going to screw everything up. Whereas, like you were saying, that's a perfect example of, hey, it's a bull river. It's already pulled back, and if then you wait for it to pull back to you and start to build, that's a much better spot. So, I mean, I realize you already know this because you said it perfectly, but I just thought it was funny as I'm watching this one trade. I'm like, wait, that's what Phil and I were just talking about. So
yeah. And
do you see what I mean then when you're looking at something pulled? Does it make sense now why this actually would become, like, for me, I don't know what that level is, so I'm going to put a green line. If I were seeing this one, I'd like a first entry right there around 1265 because you had those 2 candles that's got, let's see, a low of 1265 and a low of 1266, and then you have a previous high, so resistance becomes support at 1266. So right there, if it could form on this 2-minute candle that's currently forming as we watch this chart, to me, that's a great first entry point. And then you have the 50 period down below where you could build a little bit more. So that's kind of how I would view that chart. And I would say if you're looking to build on the long side, I'm not saying that's the holy grail way to approach it. That's just the way I would look at this current setup as it unfolds. Does that make at least halfway sense?
Oh, yeah, 100%. The way I had it set up was that when I pulled it up, because I looked at this morning, I was going to play this. I had this on my charts. I did a fib from yesterday, all the way up to the top, and I would have actually gone short at 1323, which was basically the high of yesterday. So I would have went for a short play there, a bounce off that high. But now I see you're right. And see, that's the whole thing is that you can't, sometimes you have to wait to see what happens to make the plan. You can't make the plan.
There you go. Perfectly said. I was just going to say, I hear you saying the word set up. And for our strategy, what you're trying to do, the scalping, you can't really set stuff up back at 9:30 a.m. You got to more, like you said, you let the story unfold and then start to make decisions on the current story because we're not really trading necessarily based off of what went up yesterday. Sure, that can factor in. But there's an extent where it's just like we got to be in the present period right now and make decisions based on that. So perfectly said.
And this is what I'm the guy who always asks the question on Tuesday night. Can we do this in real time? Because and not the whole thing, but like maybe we do everything. But then like the last 5 minutes or so, that's my problem is that you have to be able to set these up quick. And so as I'm trying to scalp, and it amazes me, it's like, how did you're there, you got it set up, and now you're entering stuff, and it's like, I'm like a couple steps behind. Now, I know that's going to come from practice, but it's.
But what?
There's no buts. It's just I got to keep practicing.
Yeah, you nailed it. You know it's going to come from practice. There should be no but. That's exactly it. Don't be so hard. Listen, I get it. You're an ambitious person. You're a go-getter. You want to succeed. You're just a beast, and I mean that in a good way. But you got to just give things time. It needs practice. There is no but. You understand what needs to be done, but the catch-22 of the market's, Ches, right? And we talk about this all the time. The market likes to screw with ambitious people.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does.
And keep in mind, too, that I'm a guy who comes from, at the end of the day, I can look back and physically see what I've accomplished and what I've done. I've always built things. I've always done things. So I knew that was going to be a problem. And so in the beginning of 2017, I wrote to some guy who composed a piece. It was a very good rock song that he composed, like a classical piece on piano, and never having played. I mean, I knew how to play a couple chords and stuff. I started learning this piece so that I could have and see results, and that was the only way I could see results. And that's one of the things that keeps me going. When I think I'm not getting anywhere in trading, and I see that I've now mastered another section of this piece. It's like, see, if you keep practicing, if you keep going, and I need that. I need to have something to measure myself off of. And with trading, and numbers just isn't enough. I mean, yeah, it's important. You can see how you're doing, but I like to have some kind of, what did you actually accomplish today? And so that's my head. Those are the head things that I have to work through and keep getting better at. Is just kind of like
time and practice.
Yeah, and then and I'm pretty good too. I have a very short memory. Like even today, I mean, I had the worst day I've had all year today, and I'm already over it. There's nothing I can do. I've printed it out. So I print everything out. I kind of reconcile and I go through the stuff, and then I leave it. And then at the end of the week, I actually really sort through it when I'm not in the moment. And I think I get a better understanding of what I did. And then I do, again, as I put it into a binder at the end of the month, I put everything, and then I put all the totals onto like a calendar page so I can see all my stats, so to speak, for the month. So, and that's, and then getting the confidence and then keeping the confidence. Why is it so tough to get it, so easy to lose it, and then so tough to get back to where you were again? There's your entry. There's your entry at the 50 on the CLSD.
Yeah, I'm watching right now. I would have probably moved it down to below the 50 period now because of
the size of the candle.
It gave me that. Well, it gave me that miniature consolidation where it bottomed out at 1275, 1275. Now, granted, here in hindsight, I would have had my 10 cents there potentially. But I would have probably played it now more for a fake breakdown of that 50 period. So I don't know if you've seen the 37 that I've talked about in webinars, but I could see this being a 1237. And I'm actually contemplating putting it in right now, but this is too good of a discussion right now to worry about distracting myself with the trade. So I'm not going to put this in at 12.
I can't wait till people are trying to reverse engineer this stuff at the end. It's going to be great. I'm going to get so many messages. I can see it now.
I blew up my account because of you, Phil, and Ches. But hey, we warned you. Don't try. But yeah. So Phil? Does that? Like I said, I'm not saying the 1265 still wouldn't have worked. I think it may have already worked. Especially for me if I'm going for my 10 cents. But I would have probably changed it anyways by that point with the way it consolidated. And now for sure, I would definitely be down below that 50 period at probably like 1237 because that would be, and I'd be trying to get all those shorts that are shorting the breakdown of the 50 period, but catch some stop losses that it flushes down to that level, and then play the quick bounce up to probably 47 or 49.
So at what point do you walk away and say, okay, there's no trade there, and move on to another trade?
Probably if this one goes sideways for another candle or two. Because
10 years experience.
Every time the candle goes sideways, remember that 50 period is going to move up and up. So that means that the breakdown would become less and less exaggerated. Because right now, think about it, just to get down to the 50 period, it's still got to drop, not a huge way, but that would be a pretty solid red candle. and then you'd almost have to double the size of that red candle to get down to 37, which puts you at a pretty overextended candle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been trying to figure out, like, if I wanted to get an entry at the 50, you can't use the 50 because, a lot of times it never actually hits it that first time coming down.
Yep.
And so, let's say it was coming down a little bit slower and you wanted to hit the 50. How much above the 50 would you make your entry at?
Above the 50?
Sure.
I don't know. Well, it depends. I mean, if it's a $150 stock and you're looking at level 2s and everything's all over the place, then, the slick willy of the 50 period could be 15 cents. It could be 20 cents. But if you're talking about some mud stock, then maybe you literally slick willy it by like 1 or 2 pennies. So that's more so going to be dependent on the stock itself and that y-axis and how it trades.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I try to catch that bounce off the 50. Usually the 50 technically should be some support.
Right.
And
do you have pretty good success with that?
I do until I don't stop myself out when it's not right.
See, for that one, if you're playing a bounce off the 50, then that's a flat out RVR trade where you need to have a stop somewhere below the 50. But I'm a big fan of playing the fake breakdown where I'm looking for it to break down, and then that's where I'll do my typical building because within the context, it's already broken down, and support or when supports are broken, they tend to at least back test. So that's the whole premise. But if you're looking to play long and you're playing it from the above the 50, then to me, I would never build into that. I mean, I would in some circumstances, but for somebody at your stage, to me, that's just a flat-out RVR trade is, okay, I want to get in slightly above the 50 period. If it doesn't work out, then I need to just get out somewhere slightly, the below the 50 period, maybe factored in a gamma number of some case. But that's not the type that you would want to be building in unless you're already getting in sub breakdown of that 50 period. And I'm watching the chart right now. I'm hoping maybe we can get a breakdown of that 50 period so we can see it play out. But I don't know if that will happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But that bullish engulfing candle that just happened would have said to me, maybe I'm out. But I can also see how, that it was just like a pullback on the downward.
Well, I mean, if you think about that, think about it. You would have been absolutely right if you would have been somewhere slick willing that 50 period. So, the 50 period was 12.53 and it went down as low as 12.57. So whether or not you would have gotten filled, maybe. But your general idea was right. It's rubber banding. It continues to pull back and back and back. That 50 period is increasing. Ches, are you looking at all this too?
Yeah, I am. It's actually really cool to watch, and we did timestamp it for you listeners to start when we started talking about this.
But so from there, Phil, you're right, and you got the bounce right there. Now, sure, it's not like a huge bounce, but you're still talking about
as a scalper, right? And as a scalper, that's
exactly
right.
But my point is, if you did play it like that, then your stop should have been.
But see, now I would have also any time if it crossed or closed beneath the 50 was where I should get out because I don't put in my head 1252 as the stop or something. It's not a hard number. Next thing I know, it's open for interpretation, and that's where I get into trouble.
Yes.
You can't have open for interpretation, especially when you know that your logic is going to get cut off if it goes red on you. So, those are the things I struggle with. Now, I would have also tried to hold this a little bit longer with my new training that I have.
No, and absolutely. It sounds like you're not really necessarily. It sounds like you're doing a morph of an RVR with scalping, meaning you're looking for more of scalping entry points. So you're using a scalping style, like you're pretending like you're going to scalp. So those are the types of entry points you're looking for. But then you're applying more of an RVR traditional management system. That's what it sounds like. Would you agree, Ches, with kind of how he's talking?
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what I was thinking as he was kind of explaining how his strategies and how he's applying it. So yeah, it's definitely like a hybrid.
Well, it's not supposed to be a hybrid. I'm trying to find myself, and so
it sounds like finding yourself is coming to a hybrid, which is perfectly fine because you're right. You get in a good entry point and you let the thing move. You already said it yourself. It's amazing how much 5 shares can actually make you if you just let the thing do its thing.
Yeah, I got into BA this morning and at the right time, and then of course I got out too soon. But again, it's very tough to scale out I've been doing it with 10. I would sell 5 of them. I'm trying to let the other 5 run. But it's just, I don't want to have, maybe it ends up as a morph in between the two, a hybrid of the two, but my brain is trained to scalp, and I wasn't successful enough at it. So I don't want to just scalp because...
Well, I don't know if you've ever given it an honest try and given the honest try enough time. So I wouldn't say that you weren't successful at it. I don't know if you have enough data and enough valid data for you to really say that.
Okay, no, and that's, again, those are the things that I have no idea. There's no book to go to. There's no, and that's the toughest thing.
You're a member of CTU at 12:05 a.m. on January 1st. As of now, it is basically 3 months later. If you think that you're going to get scalping the way you're trying to do figured out in 3 months when you just started,
Well, no, I had all last year too. So I mean, I have
garbage stuff that's turning you this way and the other.
No, I agree, and so
you're gonna figure it out, Phil. You have the dedication. It's just
You don't know what that means to me, because I really was almost going to tell you guys today, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do this because I had such a bad day today. It's like, how am I going backwards? No. I was so frustrated. Thank you.
No.
I mean...
Chess, he's talking about y-axis. He's talking about grandma numbers. He's talking about... the
trading plans and record keeping and treating it as a business.
You are so on the right path. I'm about to smack you. What do I need to do to 3 months ago? And I know you've been trading for longer than that, but just because you've been, playing baseball for 5 years, if the first 4 years you're using a frying pan as your baseball bat, does that really mean you've been playing baseball? I don't think so. I mean,
no, yeah.
All right. So let's keep things in perspective. You're definitely, and like I said, as I talk with this and the questions you're asking, those are logical questions that you're asking me. Well, what would you do here? What would you do? In those situations. Let me ask you this. Have you listened to the live webinars, not the podcast, but the live webinars from Tuesday where I've interviewed Nate Wilson?
Do you know what number it was?
I do not know. If you do run a search, then that should pop up.
You type Nate Wilson in the search, it'll come up for all his webinars that he's been on. But he is someone you should listen to how he does it, because that's how you trade as well.
Exactly. I would say definitely another homework assignment for you. Run the search for Nate Wilson, and not his podcast. He's been on several podcasts, but I've interviewed him about this because we trade very similarly, and just it's a discussion basically between him and I, and you would definitely get a lot out of that too. So go back, and that would make sense. I'm guessing you haven't, because we're at like 160 webinars now.
It's pretty deep in there.
And this one is, if you joined on the first, then this was, our last interview was before the first of this year. So, but I think he's been on 2 or 3 times, but a couple times we really dig into kind of the things we're looking for this sort of stuff. And I think that would really help you out. But looking at the time, well, first off, congratulations, Phil. You have joined an elite club of 2-parters. This will definitely
welcome to the
split into 2 parts. So you're in the 2-part club. Welcome aboard.
Okay, well, thank you.
That's good. That's because, he's so composed. You're good, Phil. But looking at the time, I still have lots of stuff. So we'll have to I don't know. We can't go 3-parter because I have some other things I got to do. But we could keep on going. But earlier you mentioned, like the first thing I wrote down in my trading plan, or pretty much your trading business plan. Could you just give listeners a little bit more about what exactly you have in this trading business plan? Because that's something that I don't think too many people do.
Okay, so basically you have a table of contents. Why do I trade?
So you have a table of contents.
Sure.
Now, you say this like, duh, but I assure you, for most people, they do not have a trading plan with a table of contents before they get into their trading. So, good on you, but Chez, am I right?
It's actually version it's version 1.6 I'm up to.
Oh, this is just so great. No, you are completely right.
He says it like I'm an idiot, like... Well, dude, who doesn't? But I assure you, it's not a who doesn't situation. It's like who does is more so accurate, right, Chez?
Yep.
So
exactly.
So you're in Michigan, right?
I am.
And if you want to go to Oklahoma, you just get in the car and drive?
We have airports here.
Well, no. What I'm saying is
Even doing
that
that.
you look at a map and you find a map and you plan a
See,
route.
I'm an engineer. I take things way too literal. All right. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. It's a roadmap. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so then I just go through, like I had a paragraph on why do I trade, then a paragraph on who I am as a trader. Then I go over,
Do you have that nearby?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Would you
I
be
can hear
willing
him
to
rustling the papers.
Is this personal, or would you be willing to read who you are as a trader?
I am an emotionally stable person, and this fact supports consistent follow-through and success as a rule-based trader. And then it goes through me, the good, and the working on it. A consistently profitable trader, that is the goal. In deciding to become a consistently profitable trader, I have searched and continue to search far and wide for the means to become such a rare specimen. I have learned that all great traders are not great at all traits of a trader. However, all great traders are great at the traits that come naturally to them, and they work incredibly hard on the traits that don't. The good news is that I know the traits required to become a consistently profitable trader. The tough news is that I need to evaluate, determine, and plan a way to achieve overall greatness in those traits for myself. So, what follows will be my continuing evaluation of myself on the important traits of a consistently profitable trader. And then it goes through, my strong work ethic, I'm a self-starter, my focus and follow-through, my analytical problem solving, how am I doing, my ability to lose, my patience, which isn't one of my better things. It's my greatest challenge, actually, my patience, but maybe not. Trading is fractal, and that really appeals to me. As a consistently profitable trader, my goals are to take advantage of the core strategy and wait for setups, triggers, entries, and exits. Then emotions, and then in summary, my edge. You want to hear my edge?
I do.
As I continue,
keep watching CLSD though. Look at that cliff. I mean, the 50 period's essentially becoming a cliff at this point. So I could definitely see what's that previous breakout point. If I was going to play a fake breakdown of that cliff break, I'd be down at 12.
Is that a disgruntled?
Yeah, very well. It could be. It could be.
Yeah, you call them different things, and that's why I sometimes, and I understand why, because it's not part of the course and stuff that way, but anyway, my edge, as I continually review and update this plan, I am encouraged and inspired by the hard work I have poured into this adventure, and the growth I have achieved already, and the results I can actually see. I know I have worked harder than most, and even though I have reached this level, all of the traits I have discussed have only begun to develop. There is so much more for me to achieve, and I welcome the hard work. I will always continue to push through to get to the next level and beyond, and that will always be my edge. And then I just go into goals and, when I'm going to trade, some rules that I have, if I'm sick, if I'm tired, if I'm emotional, I can't trade, and, those types of things. But,
can I give you one suggestion for your business plan?
Yeah.
You said under, pretty much your patience is a big weakness, or your patience is something that you know that you're aware of, that, maybe one of your things that you need to improve on, right?
Yep.
I would scribble by that time perspective, because for you to be sitting here and hearing that,
I've printed out your chart. The longer the time you're in, the less frustration you have.
Okay, you've printed it out, but you're not listening to it, because if you're sitting here already questioning whether or not this is for you after only 3 months.
No, I had a bad day today.
You had a bad day. That's all I had, Clay.
That's all I had.
It's a one-off.
I'm sorry. I might have missed that. That was all just based off of the one trade today?
Are you kidding me?
You just had a bad day today.
Oh, all right. I thought you were questioning just as a whole.
No. This is who I am.
That's on me then for not.
There's not a question. I am a trader. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Period. The end.
Okay. All right. Then my apologies for not.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Hey, did you see CLSD though? What were you just talking about? A cliff point?
Yeah. No. I would have. Hopefully, I would have stopped out.
Well, I would have not been filled, because I would have still been at 12:37, and it stopped at 12:40. So
yeah, and I don't trade this time of day. I only trade the morning, at least right now. So I trade the morning. I take a break for lunch. I play the piano. I do a little bit of get myself, and then I come and then I go to school. I've been doing a little bit of paper trading, and here's another thing. People who think that there's no difference. So I trade in the morning with 5 and 10 shares. And it's real money. And let me tell you, my hand is on that mouse and it sweats because it's right there. It's because I'm really intensely watching it. And that's, I come back from lunch and I've been trading paper, simulated trading in the afternoon with 100 shares. And I click the thing and I can walk around and I'm here and it's no big deal. And oh, look, it's going down. And I wish I could have that. Because I always said, no, if I had a simulator that the only difference between live and simulator was a quick push of a different button after I signed in. And so I was like, I'll never even know if I'm real money or not. You know when it's real money and your head acts differently. It's incredible. It's amazing how differently it is.
It is. And I think it's one of those areas where you just don't get it until you go through it. And then it's just... Yeah. I don't know how else to explain it other than what you just said. I mean, 10 to 20 shares, your hands are sweating. Then all of a sudden you're doing 100. You're walking around the room whistling.
Yeah, hey, look at this. And like all of those are like green. It's like no problem with those. And it's amazing at the difference. And that's the only reason why I've done too much paper trading to know that if I don't trade live every day with 5 or 10 shares, that I'm not going to get any better. I'm just not. So I'm trading with real money. I know that, there's a time when simulated paper trading just doesn't make sense anymore. That you're not helping anymore. It's hurting. And I think I'm at that point. Am I wrong?
No, nope. Trading with 5 and 10 shares is totally fine to be live because there's no reason you should be losing your behind on 5 and 10 shares, because if you are, all you're doing, and this, if you're just reinforcing bad habits of, I'll just add another 5 shares or I'll add another 10 shares. You're not doing that. Treat it as 5. In the future, it could be up to 5,000. But right now, you got to get used to having real money on the line, and I think doing it small, I fully agree. There's only so far you can go with paper trading. Now you're dealing with fills and other things like that, so you are in the market. I mean, you're participating.
And one more thing to add on that is, you're doing it right, but that's a two-sided coin, and Ches nailed the one side perfectly. I'll tackle the other side. You also now know what to practice. I see it so much, and it drives me insane. Hey, Clay, I'm brand new, and I need a demo account. Well, do you know what you need to practice? Well, yeah, how to make money. Well, I mean, I'll use the same example. Yeah, you can practice baseball, but if you're using a frying pan as your baseball bat, is that really good practice for baseball when game time comes around? No, practice makes perfect is the worst saying I've ever heard. Perfect practice makes perfect. So to piggyback off Chez's point, yeah, you're in the market, but you're controlling your risk. But you also know what to be practicing now. You're not out there just making stuff up, forming bad habits, and all that stuff. Is it going to be perfect? No, but at least you have a set structured set of criteria that makes sense to be trying to learn, rather than just, I'm brand new, I signed up for a Robinhood account, and I it's just a small account, so I'm totally safe. Yeah, that's great. You're totally safe from that side of the coin. But what are you actually practicing? All you're doing is building all sorts of bad habits, because when you don't know what you don't know if you're building bad habits, and odds are you're building bad habits. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and we got to start to wrap this up, Phil. We could talk we could just keep on talking forever. We're going to have to get you on the live webinar and just talk about some of your trading, and because you're fun to talk to, you're easy to talk to, you have a great outlook on things. So I'm without doubt, I'd love to break down some more of your trades with you on CTU. And as long as you don't mind me maybe giving you some tough love here and there, I'd love to do some live coaching with you.
I'd love to have it. I mean, I would welcome it. I can't do this alone. I need help, and if helping me can help other people, I'm all for it. And because I know that in order to get where you want to go, you have to help other people too. And so, here's my little secret. Here's my little secret.
I do those, you know my video charts where I analyze charts and all that stuff?
I do.
Okay. Yes, I 100% do that. Well, not 100%. A vast majority of that I do because it generates traffic, I'm running a business, blah, blah, blah. But my chart vision stays at peak performance because I've literally done over the time frame of I don't know how long, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of those video chart analysis. And yeah, there's only so much you can say because there's only so many patterns out there, but it's all about chart vision. So to kind of just complement the point you made earlier, you just need more practice. And when you are helping others, like you said, it also helps you. And that's why those video charts are so valuable. And yeah, so I mean, you're absolutely right in that. Is you can, if like I said, if by helping you, I can help others, great. Ches, would you agree he'd be a great somebody to have on the live Tuesday webinar, right?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, and people love, we have a ton of members that, are interested in scalping as well, but it's a little bit more difficult to explain, in my opinion, than some stuff. So yeah, we always love having people on like that, and I fully agree with you. Phil is just a really well-spoken person with just an absolutely amazing work ethic, and you're definitely going to help some people out just from listening to this podcast, because
yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to realize, wow, I really wasn't taking it even close to serious compared to Phil here. So yeah,
and you still struggle, right? It's I have to work harder than everybody else who's out there, and there's some people that are really smart, have been through really good schools, and I know what the competition is. I have on one of my whiteboards is they're out to take your money. I have all these little things written on them all over the place. So
who else is out to take your money? Single moms in Wisconsin, aka known as Sean. Have you listened to Sean's podcast?
No.
Well, listen to Sean. She's
although I may have.
There are a lot of smart people out there, but it ain't all on Wall Street. We've had a lot of people, and this is why I love the market, because like I said,
it's a great equalizer.
Yeah,
really.
It really is a great equalizer, and I love how you said it. You're working hard, but you're still struggling, and that really just shows why none of this is get rich quick. Doesn't happen overnight. It's not buy my secret system. It's not buy my trading robot. Anybody that implies to buy their system is trying to scam you. If they're saying buy my system that's going to teach you how to use tools to build your own strategy, then that's much different. But all that other stuff, if they're promising you, it just, all right, Phil, we got to end this because I have other stuff I have to do. I was not
sorry.
in my time schedule. I was not
yep.
planning on a 3-parter, so we cannot do a 3-parter. We got to wrap this up.
Okay.
Another homework assignment for you as you start to trade. You already do this anyways. So I guess if you see something, whether it's a winning trade, a losing trade, or whatever, write it down, take some notes, and get a hold of me, and then you and I will set up some not tonight, but some Tuesday night in the future, and I'll have you on, and we'll do some. You can walk us through your trades, like you've seen other people. Have you seen the past other live interviews on Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen
we'll do something like that, and if I see something
every day, yeah.
Yeah, and if I see something that needs some critiquing, or maybe somebody else, one of our other veteran members sees, which is awesome about the Tuesday night webinars, people that are really good traders still show up just to hang out, just to offer up their thoughts too. So, if you want to have your things put under the microscope, then, that would be some great content. So it's good content from a business perspective. It's a good way for you to learn. It's a good way for other people to learn. So do that. Keep a close eye on things and get a hold of me, and we'll set something up for Tuesday night. So does that sound like a plan?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, we got to move on to the fun. Wait. Time machine. That's right. Sorry, Ches. I'm going to take it. Then you can take the fun question. Ches has a time machine. If he were to lend it to you and you could take it back to the start of this all, what would be that one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
That I could actually do this for a living. I think if I would have realized back in 2009, 10, or 11 that, hey, you can actually do this for a living, I think I would have approached it a lot differently. I didn't. It was like there, but I didn't realize. So I would love to go back, because I could have done this years and years and years ago and not had to go through all this stuff. So I just never thought I could do it for a living. I didn't know people did it for a job. And that's what I would tell myself, is that, no, you can get away from people. Here's the perfect thing for you. This is who you are. That's what I would say.
You don't know until you know, and you're here now, and that's what counts. But you can absolutely do it, and it's great. And just based on the experiences you've had, I'm like, oh, this is such a fitting job for Phil, who loves to be paid based on performance and pretty much deal with not a lot of people at all. But Phil, I just want to echo Clay as well. It was absolutely fantastic speaking to you today. We'll definitely have you back on again. You're already in the elite club of a 2-parter, and if Clay didn't have stuff to do, I'm sure we would have got a 3-parter out of you too. But What would you say is your favorite food and dessert?
Well, I cook for myself, and I make the most awesome bolognese sauce. And so it's a meat sauce that I have on my pasta. That's my favorite meal, and Baskin Robbins peanut butter and chocolate ice cream.
There you go.
Can't argue with that.
What don't you do, Phil? You cook for yourself. You run multi-million-dollar real estate development companies. Now you're learning to trade. I mean, can you knit me a sweater too?
I'm sure I could. There's a YouTube video that'll show me how to knit.
Question. With your ambition, you'd probably have it figured out by next week, and it'd be in my mailbox 2 weeks from now. So, I mean...
Well, you're giving me more of that time than I need. You said knit something, right? Okay.
I love it. Ches was nice. He left me my favorite question. What is your favorite movie?
Okay, so I got two for you. One is an Adam Sandler movie that blows you away, and that's Rain Over Me. It was the movie that I liked because it shows how when there's tragedy, you don't even realize some of the people that are affected by it. So Rain Over Me. But recently, I'm a huge fan of space, and because the Falcon Heavy has been up and the Falcon 9 keeps going up, one of my ultimate favorite movies is Gravity.
Gravity is a good one too.
It was my, and listen, Braveheart, all the way they are, but I want to put something original, something different.
No, those are good, right? I totally forgot about that Adam Sandler movie, and I'll have to watch it again because I think the first time I saw it, I was probably young and stupid and didn't probably appreciate all the underlying themes that were going on. But now that I have more life experience, I'd probably pick up more stuff.
It also shows that he has actual talent too. I mean, being a comedian is one thing, but this was a serious role, and it really showed that he had some depth. So
nice, yeah. And then Gravity, yeah. Good movie with very little dialogue, but it just shows that a movie doesn't have to be all dialogue.
And one person, yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie. But Phil, if you had to pick 3 words that define successful traders, what would those 3 words be?
Okay, so as you can tell, obviously, because I've listened to a bunch of podcasts, I have taken notes and I've planned out a lot of this stuff. So my 3 words are in this little paragraph, and you'll know what the words are. The conviction that this is who I am and what I want. Got to have conviction that this is it. You have 2 athletes. They're absolutely the same, but if one wants to make it to a pro and the other one doesn't really know, the one with conviction is going to do it. The determination to work harder than I ever had before. That's determination is the second one. And I know Dan used this, but I had it already on my list, is the perseverance to continue day after day after day of taking a beating. So conviction, determination, and perseverance. All the rest comes with it. If you can make it through those 3 things, you got it made.
Booyah. That's I think that's a wrap. And I had a great time. Ches, did you have a good time with this one?
Absolutely.
No, not that we don't have good times with everything, but I'll be honest, some, Ches and I get done, we're like, holy crap, that was really good. Another time we're like, hey, yeah, that was good. That was good. And so I wouldn't say that we've ever had one where Ches and I walk away like, what a total waste of time. But I mean, there's different levels, and I would say this one, really, really good time. So, Phil, we're going to have you back. I don't even care if you don't want to come back. Well, we'll bug your house or something. We'll figure out a way to get you back. And you have your homework assignment. We'll get you on a Tuesday night webinar.
I have 3 homework assignments.
You do? Good.
Yeah,
you're keeping track.
I wrote it down. Level 2, Nate Wilson, and when I'm trading. So, I would really like to thank you guys for, number one, allowing me to come on because, I came on for some selfish reasons too. But, if everybody gets something out of it, it works for everybody.
We're both real estate. We understand win-win deals, so no problem.
And again, so much respect for the 3 years. I'm including, IT Nate. But, what you're doing is awesome. It's great. And I thank you guys. You make it, a lot easier. So thank you.
Well, you are welcome, but I will say this, that what the 3 of us do is only a function of the building blocks around us, which AK are the community members such as yourself. So I guess we're kind of like the top of the stool, and then the 3 legs around it are the community members, and if a bunch of community members aren't as great as they are, then yeah, it just doesn't work out. So, but yes, you are welcome. But thank you to you for being a great asset to the community. And yeah, I got to just wrap this thing up because we could keep talking forever. So Phil, thank you very much. Ches, thank you very much as the co-host. Before you go though, if you're listening on the YouTube channel, make sure to check out the channel as a whole. There's a lot of other stuff other than these podcasts, live trade videos, quick tip videos. We have a vlog. You can check that sort of stuff out. We did talk about real estate investing a little bit here. So there are some of my real estate and, adventures on that vlog if you're interested. If you're watching, or I should say listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, click that share button down below. There is an area to watch or to leave comments, and I do read those comments and we will reply to them. And then finally, the big one, if you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, please subscribe, and especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a rating, that really helps us out and goes a long way. So thank you to all of you as listeners.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.